Welcome to Vastu Wednesdays by PHL, a weekly series where we talk about how to incorporate decor with Vastu principles and align the flow of energy. I'm Zafar Beg, and with me is Mr. Rakesh Chawla, a very senior Vastu practitioner, and we look forward to walking you through this thought process of Vastu with home decor and PHL. This week, we have a series of questions that have come in from our audience. Mr. Chawla, if you'd be so kind as to walk us through your understanding of these.
Sure.
The first question that has come through is, can you share your understanding of Vastu principles and how they influence your space?
Vastu principles are all about harmonizing the space that you live in. As one can understand, these principles have emerged from the 5 universal elements, and there's a sequence or a cycle to these elements. In this cycle, we just ensure that the representative of the element, be it in form of color or shape or a figurine, is kept in the right direction of the home. By doing so, we harmonize or we nurture the element inside the house, thereby balancing or harmonizing the flow of energy.
That's so interesting. So, Mr. Chawla, can you share your understanding on Vastu principles and how they influence our space?
Vastu principles are essentially to harmonize the energies inside the space.
Right.
Now, I'll just give you a brief that these principles, they revolve around the 5 universal elements: fire, air, space, earth, and water.
Right.
These elements have been assigned certain directions inside any living space.
Mm-hmm.
And to harmonize the elements, we just ensure that, either color or a figurine or a shape or in any form that the colors can be represented, they should be kept so as we nurture the elements and we harmonize the space.
That's fascinating. The next question that has come through is, how important is Vastu compliance to you when it comes to decorating your home?
A very interesting question. It's as simple and as straightforward as how important is your diet to, sustain good health.
Right.
The compliance of Vastu helps in harmonizing the flow. It is just like, the diet that you are following helps you to retain good health. But there's no guarantee that you will be healthy if you are having a good diet. Along with the diet, you also need to have a good mindset.
Right.
Which is as important in following Vastu as it is when you are keeping your diet in mind. I personally feel that Vastu is nothing but it is yoga in architecture.
Interesting way of putting it, yes.
So like you have, the practice of yoga is to ensure that you build your immunity and you are flexible and you do proper breathing, etc., etc. The same is applicable to a structure. When we are applying Vastu principles, we are doing exactly what yoga is doing to your body. Vastu does exactly the same to a structure. In short, harmonizing the flow of energy, which builds the immunity. So the immunity of a house means that the occupants of the house are happy.
Super. The next question is, what specific Vastu principles do you consider when selecting home decor items? Like animal figurines, Buddhas, Ganeshas, 4 flowers?
You see, there's no specific principle that one has to consider. But like I said, that these figurines, they represent certain elements. And there are certain directions which, keeping them in those directions, it nurtures the element. For example, like you said, a figurine of a horse. A horse is full of energy. It's a symbol of energy.
Right.
The direction south, the direction of fire, is also associated with energy. So to nurture fire, it's either you have color red or any, artifacts of which are in, in warm colors, in pink or, whatever. Or you just keep the bust of a horse. It serves the same purpose.
All right.
Now, depending upon the size of the room or where they are kept, that has to be fine-tuned.
Our next question, what specific Vastu principles do you consider when selecting home decor items?
You see, there are no specific principles which we follow while selecting the items, but once the item is selected, then we try to put it in the appropriate place. For example, like you have, let's say, a horse bust or a figurine of Buddha or, let's say, Ganesha, or even elephants, etc., etc. Now, a horse is suggested to be kept in the south because a horse symbolizes energy. South is the direction of fire, which also symbolizes energy.
Right.
So logically, keeping a horse in south, we are nurturing the energy of fire.
Okay.
Right. Or the color red represents fire as well. so which we can have in South also. Now, while we are keeping the placements of colors and figurines, we must remember that, while red is very good in South, it's exactly the opposite in North, because there it will clash with the element. Now, coming back to the figurines or the items that we can keep, now let's say we have a Buddha bust or a Buddha statue, which symbolizes peace and harmony and calm. Areas where we would like to keep this inside a house is either in the living room or in the family lounge.
Right.
Because wherever there is a family get-together or the family members are sitting, the first thing is that there has to be some peace and harmony amongst them.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the place where we would not really suggest a horse. Because we don't want too much of energy in that room where the family is together.
Or the horse to bolt.
Yeah. So that's where a Buddha statue or let's say even a Ganesha, that all is well.
Right. Awesome. Mr. Chawla, thank you so much for taking the time and explaining to us the principles of Vastu. And I think this will be fascinating for new subscribers. And guys, please follow us on YouTube. And for any further questions, please send them through and we'll be happy to answer them next week.